My name's Olivia Bennett. I'm 29, living in Seattle. 4 months ago, my mother forgot to hang up the phone. She whispered, "He's right. Olivia's a burden. A regret. She should never have existed." I sat frozen, listening. For 8 years, I'd quietly paid their $2,100 0 cents bills. A week later, I sold my downtown condo for $870,000 0 cents, transferred every paper, and vanished. My parents flew home from Japan, all smiles and shopping bags, until their key wouldn't turn. The condo was empty, and taped to the door was a note. "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." It all began because Mom forgot to hang up. I'd called her about renewing the car tabs, just another chore I always handled. She said she'd check a drawer and set the phone down but left the call running. At first I heard only shuffling papers. Then footsteps. A chair scraped the floor, and then her voice, quiet and casual. "She's a burden," she murmured. "A regret. She should never have existed." I clutched the phone, heart pounding. She wasn't yelling or sobbing. She sounded calm, maybe talking to Dad, or just thinking out loud. But her words tore through me. A burden. A regret. All those years, I'd paid their mortgage, credit cards, sudden hospital bills. That month alone, I'd sent $2,100 0 cents for their homeowner's insurance because Dad's arthritis was bad again. Yet somehow, I was the burden. I didn't hang up. I let the call keep going as they chatted and laughed in the background. The microwave beeped like nothing cruel had been said. When the line finally went dead, I didn't cry. I just stared out the rain-speckled window, my breath misting the glass. The next day, I visited my bank. Not for revenge, just to see my options. My condo was nearly paid off. It was worth $870,000 0 cents. I realized I had choices. Power I'd never shown them. I met with a lawyer who explained how to sell quietly and disappear. When he told me the final figure, I felt nothing. Like I was wiring a circuit I didn't fully understand. But I knew what I had to do. I told no one, not friends, co-workers, or neighbors. I went to work, smiled at baristas, waved at neighbors, and texted, "Have a great trip," when my parents left for Japan. A trip partly funded when they refinanced their condo last fall, with my help. Then I quietly packed my things. I sold the condo, transferred ownership, directed mail, and disappeared. I let them enjoy their travels until they found the door locked and a note taped there. "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." I never used to think I mattered. That came later. At first, I was simply the responsible one, the fixer. The daughter who noticed details, paid bills on time, worked hard, earned decent money, and asked for nothing. In the beginning, the requests were small. Dad's arthritis flared up. Could I cover the water bill? Or, my brother's tuition was due. Could I help? They said they'd repay me. They never did. Then they stopped pretending. When new windows cost $1,800 0 cents after a storm, I paid. When the car broke down on I-5, I wired money. When property taxes were overdue and Mom cried, I sent money that same day. After that came joint accounts, a family credit card, only for emergencies. Then my name landed on their mortgage just for a while to help refinance. Quietly, my credit score started falling. Quietly, fully, like bruises under skin. Once, I asked about a $2,900 0 cents charge at a luxury furniture store. Dad laughed. "We thought you wouldn't mind." "You barely spend on yourself," Mom said. "Besides, it's for the condo. It's yours, too." Technically. When my uncle needed surgery, they simply sent me half the bill. No questions. They knew I'd pay, and I did. When my sister's wedding needed a venue deposit, I woke at 3 a.m. to see a $6,700 0 cents charge on my banking app. I stared at it, numb. I kept telling myself it was fine, because surely they'd do the same for me. But they never did. I moved twice in 3 years. No one helped. Once, I got bronchitis so badly I could hardly speak. I texted my mom, asking if she could bring soup. She said she was too tired from her Pilates class. My birthday came, they sent a cupcake emoji. Hope it's a good one. No call, no visit. But when their birthdays rolled around, I showed up. With flowers, gifts, dinner reservations. One year, I forgot. My mom didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. I told myself it was fine. People show care in different ways. Maybe I wasn't giving enough. So I gave more, I worked harder, made sure they always had money. One night I finally did the math. $2,100, 0 cents every month. For 8 years. $201,600, 0 cents. But I never thought of it like that. Not until the phone call. She's a burden. Not forgotten, not overlooked. A burden. A weight. Someone who made their lives harder simply by existing. I heard my dad's coffee cup clink. The Seattle Times rustling. My mother's quiet sigh as she agreed. We should have sent her away when she turned 18. They were planning their Japan trip, while I sat alone in a rented Capitol Hill apartment I'd paid for in cash, quietly shifting my property deeds. I kept every email, every transfer slip, every screenshot. The condo I'd bought, my dream place overlooking the water, stood empty now. Furniture donated, accounts closed. My name erased from everything we once shared. Every link cut. Yet I didn't tell them, not yet. I wanted them to feel it. That moment arrived sooner than I expected. A week later, a text from my brother. You're still covering Mom's therapy this month, right? No greeting, no small talk, just the same assumption. I replied, of course, then canceled the payment. Permanently. That weekend, they posted photos from Tokyo. Dad grinning beside cherry blossoms. Mom in a silk scarf. Sipping tea. Caption, still living our best life. I watched the clip twice, spotted the gold ring on her finger. The one I'd bought for their 35th anniversary. They'd never said thank you. If you're ready to see what Olivia does next, and how her parents finally discover the truth, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of her story. They wore that ring like it had always been theirs. I logged off Instagram and didn't look again. The final wire transfer was complete. The buyers held the keys to the condo. I'd left nothing behind. Not a single photo, not a mug, not a coat hanger. Only a bright sticky note on the door, delivering one quiet surprise. I wasn't their bank anymore. I wasn't their fixer. I wasn't even their family. I was the storm they never saw coming. They flew back from Japan on a Thursday. I knew the date. I tracked their return like Seattle weather patterns, methodically, not out of fear but with calm, determined preparation. Their last Instagram post was glasses of plum wine raised beneath glowing lanterns. Caption, family first. I didn't flinch. The condo was already sold. But they didn't know it yet. They landed, sunburned, grinning, rolling matching suitcases through SeaTac, convinced everything was as they'd left it. Convinced I'd still be waiting, loyal, quiet, useful. But I wasn't. They probably imagined pulling into the garage, stepping out of a lift, and walking back into the life I'd funded for 8 years. But the garage was empty, no car, no lights on. Their keys didn't fit. I could picture it perfectly. Dad frowning, twisting the lock, convinced more force would help. Mom trying her set next. Both of them standing on the welcome mat, baffled, waiting for explanations. Then they'd see it. A neon seller sticky note on the front door, impossible to miss. Written in thick black ink. Surprise. This is what a burden can do. I didn't sign my name. I didn't need to. The mailbox? Gone. The security system? Disabled. The utilities? Transferred. The HOA? Updated. The framed photos on the hallway walls? Gone. The luxury towels I'd given them last Christmas? Donated. Even the wooden home is where the heart is sign? Tossed in the trash. The place was spotless. Okay. Like they'd never lived there. like I scrubbed away every trace while they were off drinking plum wine and snapping photos in Japan. I didn't do it to hurt them. It wasn't revenge. It was simple. It was necessary. It was the final step I needed to breathe again. They started calling, of course, over and over. At first, they were puzzled. "Hey, we're locked out. Can you call the building manager?" Then, did the garage code change? And finally, panic. "Where's the furniture? Why isn't the Wi-Fi working? Why is your number disconnected?" I didn't answer. By midnight, they'd called everyone. My brother, cousins, neighbors in the building. They convinced themselves it was a mistake, or a robbery, or maybe some twisted prank. Then my mom rang my office line, the one nobody ever uses. She left a voicemail, her voice trembling. "Olivia, please, just tell us what's happening. We're at a hotel. The condo, it's empty. The neighbors said a moving truck was here last week. Was that you? Did something happen?" Yes. Something happened. I heard them. I've kept that voicemail. I play it sometimes. Not because it makes me happy, but as a reminder, even after calling me a burden, draining my savings, pushing me aside, they still expected me to swoop in, to fix it. That's when it truly snapped for me. When I realized nothing would ever change. I was never their daughter to cherish. I was their safety net, their silent wallet, their backup plan. And when I stopped paying, that's when they finally noticed I was gone. 8 years of loyalty, quiet help, unquestioned devotion. They gave me silence, expectations, labels, a burden, a disappointment, a mistake. So I left them nothing. The fallout came fast. By 7:13 the next morning, I had 42 missed calls, 3 voicemails from my mom, each more frantic than the last. "Please, just talk to us. We need to know what happened. We need your help." I didn't reply. Instead, I logged into the last shared bank account, the one they'd forgotten I still had access to. $12,000, 0 cents sat there. Mostly my money. I transferred it to my private account, closed it. Gone. Then I canceled the condo insurance. The condo was sold. My name was still on the policy. I sent the cancellation notice. Another tie cut. That afternoon, my dad emailed me. No subject line, just a long message. Part blame, part begging. He said I misunderstood, that I'd heard it wrong, that when he called me a burden, he meant the situation, not me. Then he asked if I could help find a lawyer, claimed the new condo owners changed the locks illegally. I nearly laughed. The condo hadn't been in their names for over a year. I'd set it all up carefully. A trust, an LLC, a clean sale. It was legal, solid. They weren't locked out of a home, they were locked out of my life. 3 days later, my brother texted, the same one who used to send me Venmo requests with, "You got it, right?" Like it was a joke. He wrote, "You're really doing this to Mom and Dad? After everything they've done?" I read it twice. Everything they'd done. The dinners I wasn't invited to, the holidays I funded but spent alone. The therapy I paid for so Mom could cope with having me as a daughter. Everything. I didn't reply. Instead, I filed the final paperwork, estate documents, removed them from every account, every emergency contact, every legal form. By Monday, they were locked out of everything. No shared accounts, no safety net. They didn't just lose a condo. They lost the crutch they'd leaned on for 8 years. Maybe I let it drag on too long. Maybe I thought I was helping, but really, I'd only delayed this moment. Called the storage unit too, the one holding their things I'd been paying for. I gave 30 days notice, no warning. An eviction letter went out. They panicked, called the facility, tried to stop it, but they couldn't. I sold everything. The sofa, the sideboard, the espresso machine they'd said was too fancy, but kept anyway. Everything sold fast. The money hit my account. No note, no message, just quiet. The group chat went silent. No more jokes disguised as love. No more manipulation hidden in memes. Just silence. My mother's last post was an old photo of me as a kid. Caption: "You always were so sensitive." It didn't sting. It proved everything. I wasn't sensitive, I was finished. They tried, of course. 3 days later, they came back with a locksmith. But the locks were changed, the mailbox was gone, ownership was buried behind legal filings they couldn't untangle. The locksmith refused to open the door, said the deed wasn't in their name. So they left, quiet, empty-handed, as exactly as they deserved. I watched it happen, not from far away, not on a screen, just 2 blocks down, sitting in a rental car they wouldn't recognize, engine off, parked under an old maple tree. I watched my parents step out of the lift like they still owned the place, like they were returning to a life that no longer belonged to them. My dad looked older, smaller somehow. My mom lingered on the porch, staring at the door, waiting for it to open. It didn't. They left after 10 minutes. The condo stayed quiet. So did I. That silence was the true ending. No fight, no shouting, no arguments about family or forgiveness, just truth. They didn't cry because they missed me, they cried because the money was gone. The safety net vanished. I'd built that net with care, but care without respect always breaks. They cried because their backup plan evaporated. The burden was the only one who'd ever had a plan, and I made sure they felt every inch of what they lost. I deleted the family group chats, removed myself from every thread, every shared album, every holiday calendar I was never invited to. I didn't leave a message, just silence. A few days later, I got a letter. Not handwritten, not signed, just a typed note from a paralegal mentioning misunderstandings and estate questions. I shredded it and made tea. 2 days later, my old neighbor texted. "Your parents came by again, looked lost, just stood there, like they never saw this coming." I blocked the number, the calls stopped after 2 weeks. I think they finally understood. Not just that they lost the condo, but that they lost me completely. My brother tried though, a different number. One last message. "You're really never talking to us again?" No hello, no apology. Just shock, like it never crossed his mind I could live without them. I didn't answer. Instead, I went for a walk. The air smelled like rain, cool and fresh. Past the pharmacy where I'd picked up my mom's medication, the bakery where I bought cakes no one thanked me for. Now they were just places. No weight, no strings. I breathed. It felt like my first true breath in years. People think quiet means agreement, that no complaints mean everything is fine, but silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's waiting. Now they rent a condo on the edge of Seattle. I saw it listed while apartment hunting. Thin walls, peeling paint, bare windows facing the street. I wonder if they ever look out and wonder where it all went. If they remember that day, the sticky note, surprise, this is what a burden can do. They don't post much now. My mom's feed used to overflow with spa days, brunches, and family first quotes. Now it's just quiet reposts about not burning bridges. One said, "Don't burn bridges, you might need them again." But they never owned that bridge. They only stood on it while I built it, and when I left, it fell. My bank account is calm now, no strange charges, no bills I didn't owe, no messages from people who only called when they needed money. The funds I used to send like lifeblood. It's still there, safe, growing. I moved into my own place. Not bigger, not louder, just mine. Every lamp, every curtain, every chair, chosen by me, for me. No guilt, no hidden debts. Just space, just quiet. Sometimes I still hear his voice from that call he forgot to end. She's a burden, a disappointment, should never have been born. I let those words echo now. I don't fight them. I don't explain them away. I don't argue with ghosts. I just remember. That condo was mine. That silence was mine. That note, final. If you've ever felt like a burden, I hope my story shows you it's okay to choose yourself. Share your thoughts or advice for me below. I love to hear them. And if my journey resonates, subscribe to keep walking this path with me. We all deserve freedom and peace.